Hi, my name is Joel Douglas. I am born and raised in Toronto. My mother came from Jamaica with her grandmother here in 1980s and decided to settle down here in the West End district of Toronto. I was born with a twin sister. I have an older sister. My father was not around. The reasons, of course, I would never find out until I was later in life when I would meet him. My childhood was it was simplistic, it was fun. I enjoyed myself. My life would start to unravel as I got older. I remember also being a part of many activities in and outside of my church where I was taught to be humble and taught to be a service and a person that people can look up to. So at an early age, I was invested and pushed to be a leader. And it was around this time when I started going into middle school that I was introduced to friends just down the street from me over in the Black Creek area who I looked up to a lot. I remember being introduced to Mark and T from the Black Creek area, who I had started to hang out with. And every other day after that, I would go down to the Black Creek area and just chill around with the youth. I was really, really infatuated with the older men who were there, and I looked up to them as father figures. And the reason why is just because of their status. I loved the money, I loved what they had, I loved that they were so confident, right? And they were so just much respected. And I thought at that point, that's what I want to do. I want to be respected. It kind of put me on a different path because I'd always been one to, do good, of course. But the things that they asked me to do, and what we called were missions. So a mission would be something like going to the flea market to steal clothes or steal jewelry and whatnot, and we would sell it down the street. Or for sometimes I was aware we would have guns and we would transport those guns. So you would be getting a backpack, and I just remember being on the TTC, metal just rattling back and forth and just scared out of your mind. But at the end of the day, I felt I was doing a service to my people. And when I say my people, I just mean the environment I was in. This is regardless of color, creed, religion, whatever. This was something I felt I want to be helpful. I want those people to look up to me. So when I did these missions, it was with the understanding that I wanted to be a part of what was going on and I wanted to make a difference, or so I felt. And I wanted to belong. I wanted to be a part of something even just bigger than myself, a movement, is what I felt. And a lot of that came from the influence and from what I was taught and told. Society doesn't have your back. You as a young black man, it's gonna be the hardest ever. You're not gonna have an enjoyable life. The odds are against you. You cannot become this, you cannot become that. And it was never said in a way to be condescending, but more as a fact of life, that these are the pressures that you must face as a young black man. So for me, when I was doing these things, the criminal's mind state was not necessarily there. I wasn't thinking just the criminal to steal. It was because I wanted to help feed my brother and my sister down the street. That's how I felt. So when I started to get deeper into these things, into these missions, I knew from that point there had to be a change somewhere along the line. In 2004, I entered Runnymede Collegiate as a grade 9 student. I was introduced at some point at the end of my year to Amanda Fingerhut, and Amanda approached me and she said, "You are a leader." And it got to me. When she said those words, it inspired so much and it made me reflect on what it is I was doing. Because when she said that, I had to revert to myself and think about the youth, the young 2 9-year-olds, I'll never forget, 9 and 8, who would come to me, who were doing things with me, who looked at me as a leader. These young kids and these elders and friends around me that I had surrounded myself with and tried to push and really try to be involved with, but not understanding that, people were listening to me, people were taking in what I was doing, and people were moving on action. Those young kids were looking to me. And at the end of the day, I had to look at myself and reflect, what does that mean? If I'm a leader, and if this is true as what she is saying to me, what does that mean for me? Am I actually using my power correctly? Am I really being the effective leader that I want to be? And when I got to Future Aces with 26 buses that day in November, when they brought me, and I just remember seeing all these faces, all these different types of leaders, positive, negative, it really made me feel amazing. It made me feel good. I felt like, these were positive and negative people, but leaders nonetheless. It made me feel belonging. And that was something I've been hoping to find for a long time. From what I took away, here's a man who not only made a creed for himself and to better himself, but he felt to empower the lives of others around him. I took everything that Herb had taught from that conference and was speaking with him time to time. After that, I started to really indulge in positivity, but positivity in a sense where I not only had to just say it, I had to be it, I had to do it. I had to cut my contacts. I had to stop hanging around and talking with people who I felt in my environment were really pulling me down. It was very hard because these are people that I consider as brothers and those who I considered who had my back, life and death. So it was very hard to distance myself. I felt that I had to make the change and I had to lead by example so that people would understand where I'm at and where I'm going. When we had the Year of the Gun, I started involved in workshops. I put myself in the schools talking about gang and gun violence. After that, I started involving myself around Ottawa, Thunder Bay, Montreal. I started going to the places where the youth were, whether that be the recreation center, the schools, outside on the lot, and I would actually do, whether it be programs, workshops. I helped to create as many opportunities as I could. And everything I do now is not for myself, it's for my daughter. I have a lot of responsibilities. I have a label that I look after as well, a record label. I also do a lot of work with the Wu Tang Clan, specifically Jizza Genius. What we do is we've had lectures in places like U of T. We've done certain like school-based initiatives in places like Bendel, BTI, and places across east and the west side of Toronto. And more so, we've connected over to like New York, doing what's called the Science Genius, trying to get young people involved in not just the academic lifestyle, but just realizing that there's other options. And this is not just geared towards people in any sort of unnecessary area. We're just trying to engage young minds and engage them in a way that they can feel they can do anything. When you see an artist like Jizza Genius of the Wu Tang Clan, when you see him doing a lecture inside school, when you see him at Harvard, that changes a lot of perceptions for young people who look up to him, who look up to his music, his group's music. I feel there's many things that Future Aces has done, but I would like to really follow through with Herb's vision because I felt that Herb, from the time he was alive, was just such an instrumental force. The world needs to know of a story like Herb. It's not just a Canadian treasure, this is a world treasure. We need to understand that you have an iconic figure who transcended everything from sports to culture. We need to understand that and we need to reflect on that and what that means to the future. He's a man to me that I was able to look up to and see as not just a positive role model, not just a father figure, but as an icon, man, as an icon, as a Canadian icon. I feel now I can be a Canadian icon, I can be a world icon, I can be the best that I can be. And that came off a few words on a piece of paper he must have wrote down at, I don't even know, when he was at his lowest point. To know that that happened and where we are now, 2015, is beyond amazing. Like that's not miracle, that's just what it is. Herb inspired like a generation.
In Black Creek, what would you say to yourself as a 15-year-old boy today?
Pull up those pants. No, I would definitely say, well, I mean, let's keep it real. If I'm there right there, yeah, no. If I was to see my brother again, my 15-year-old at Black Creek, my 9-year-old, I would just let them know how fortunate you are to be in this society, in this time, in this era. You can make and create so much change. Believe that you are the key to your own salvation. You can do it. You are a leader. I would say the exact same words that Amanda has told me, that I know someone told to Amanda, that eventually Herb himself was told. I just want to continue that message of upliftment because that is the only way. And I want that young man or young woman to know there is nothing that can take you from the road or the path of success. You are in control. You just need to realize it. And I want to always say again, support. I will support you through anything. If there's anything you need, and I won't even give the number today, you know, holler at me, man. Give me a shout. I'm here for you. And I just want the youth to know that we as adults, and being as I've grown into this adult situation now and the world, I've realized, you know what, at the end of the day, we gotta support our young people. They matter so much to the life and health of this nation, so we need to pay attention. And sometimes scolding or saying, you know, you can't do this, you can't, let them free. Miss Frizzle said it best. Get messy, make mistakes. I love the idea. Have fun. Have fun, man. This life comes once.